Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Thank you everyone for being here tonight. My name is Kelly Tuck. Thank you for letting me be here this evening to talk about technology's impact on your business and give you a quick overview of several systems that you can use to make your life easier and your business more streamlined. I am a wellness advocate and I love being involved in this dōTERRA community. I am pretty intuitive when it comes to technology and can tend to tinker around with something until I figure it out. But I do have a Bachelor of Science from Liberty University in Worship and Music Studies with a concentration in worship technology. So many of the things I will talk about tonight I've actually studied and used for quite a long time. As I went on to be a media director at a church for several years before moving here to North Carolina and finding dōTERRA. And I still freelance in several of these things as well. So I do want to reiterate that this is an overview. My goal is to give you plenty of options for programs and ways to implement these modern resources into your business, but I don't wish to spend too much time overwhelming anyone with all of the how-to details of any of them. If you hear something you like and have questions about implementation or specific how-tos, I'd be happy to chat with you one-on-one at some point to discuss what might work best for you and make sure you feel comfortable with the process. So this is basically things you should have on your radar and just good info to know when the time does come for you to be trying some of these things in your business. So first, I always love to make sure everyone knows exactly what it is we're talking about. So we'll start out with some simple definitions of the word technology itself. So technology simply means, what is technology? Technology simply means to implement practical application of knowledge, especially in a particular area. So, haha, that's great. You actually are all masters and experts of technology and you don't even need to be here, so class dismissed. I'll see you next time. Obviously I'm kidding. Please don't leave just yet, but what the simple definition of technology is great. We all know there's more to it than that. And the term is much more loaded than this simple definition that Webster's gives us. So in more current usage, it normally refers to the tools and machines people have invented to make life and work easier. And perhaps the most common technology staple used in businesses today is the computer. So now looking at technology past, even the simplest invention like the plow had a huge impact on business. Before the plow was invented, people had to dig in the earth with their hands. But because of the plow, more corn could be planted, which meant more corn could be produced. And increased corn production meant hiring more people to harvest the corn, selling more corn in the market, and building a corn-selling business. So since the invention of the plow, there have been countless new inventions that have changed the way that we live, work, and do business. In the past 50 years, some of those things are vehicles, television, computers, cell phones, internet. In the past 50 years, electronics have revolutionized businesses and society. And there's a never-ending demand to make electronic goods smaller, faster, cheaper. I mean, you all know how it is. You buy the iPhone 7 and a week later the iPhone 8 comes out. That's just the way that it is. Computers can store thousands of files electronically, saving time and office space. The computer obviously created a boom in nearly all business industries. Now, according to opinion research for CNET and Techies.com, when asked to choose the top 3 technologists of this century, American adults picked Bill Gates of Microsoft, Henry Ford, obviously the Model T, Wilbur and Orville Wright, who flew the powered airplane, John Moakley, who created the ENIAC computer, Guglielmo Marconi is the father of radio, Tim Berners-Lee is the foundation of our internet, John Logie Baird is mechanical TV, and Steve Jobs is obviously Apple computers. So technological inventions greatly affect your daily life. So how can or should they affect your business? Let's start out with a simple question that has a relatively simple answer. Do I need technology to run my business? Well, some probably can't be lived without, such as vehicles and phone service. And I think there really is a baseline of technology that you probably do need, especially if you're here tonight. I mean, you're looking at least wanting to have access to a computer with internet. That would kind of be the baseline for that. A smartphone, as an iPhone or an Android, is nice to have, but it's not necessarily but for some of these even more monstrous technology that can sometimes require a pretty heavy skill set, the simple answer to this question of do I need technology to run my business is technically no. For almost everything that I can share with you about using more in-depth technology resources, there is an old-fashioned or pen and paper way to get it done, or it can be avoided altogether, and a different plan of action can take place. And honestly, if technology gives you the willies and just adds frustration to your life, it may not be something that you want to even deal with adding to your plate. But in this ever-evolving and fast-paced society, there are some things that can be better accomplished and some demographics that can be more effectively reached when we leverage technology to help us. So we all know that time is money, and if there is something out there that can reduce the time or at least streamline the time we spend on non-income generating activities, we would probably be wise to look into it. Now, I know some of you there are sitting there thinking, technology is not going to reduce my time spent, it's going to quadruple it and make me pull my hair out. Well, calm down, we have oils for you. Balance would be a good start, and the root to tip serum is absolutely fabulous for hair growth, so no worries there. So you can pull it all out and get it all back. But no, seriously, are you struggling with technology but you want to use the computer and internet to build your business? Well, for you there is good news, and there's really no shame in having to do this. We now live in a day and age where it is very affordable for you to hire out the different things that you need to do in the technology world. Now, before you go on saying, if you're thinking, wait a minute, Kelly, I can't afford to have someone do my techie stuff for me. Well, I want you to think about this. So if someone is starting a restaurant, and because they can't afford to buy furniture, do they just whittle it out of wood themselves? Do they go out into the woods and chop down a tree and whittle them up a little table and furniture? Probably not. And why is that? Setting aside the skill set that would be necessary to do that and get it right, most importantly, it's the time. Hopefully they're analyzing their time and saying to themselves, well, boy, making my own furniture sure would take a long time. Maybe I shouldn't do that. They would analyze their time and they would know that they are in a business, and in business there are expenses. It is not time abundance that makes you a successful network marketer. It is the efficient use of your time. So is investing in technology necessary in network marketing? Again, no, not necessarily. It's just really up to how you want to run your business and the demographic you want to be able to reach. And sometimes at the outset of our businesses, we can't employ anyone. I mean, we can barely employ ourselves. We've all been there. But there is absolutely no shame in hiring out some things that you don't have time or skill to do on your own when it becomes possible. Even finding a student or a friend that is willing to help can be okay. But I do want to bring something up in that vein. Network marketing and even internet marketing is low cost, but it's not no cost. If you're going to use internet and technology to grow your business, usually, there are a few things that you should probably have to do that. And free is usually actually your most expensive option. Now, what do I mean by that? We've all had those times where we've let Uncle David do the task because he was willing to do it for free or really cheap. And free or really cheap was what we thought we needed. At my wedding, I was trying to save my dad money. So I asked my hobbyist Uncle David to take our wedding pictures. He was willing to do it for free. We wound up getting him like a $50 gift card to Best Buy or something, but still everyone here obviously knows that that's nothing for wedding photography to pay $50. My uncle tried his best, but the pictures turned out super subpar. There was this red lighting in the church that he didn't know how to deal with, and he didn't have the chops to take the types of pictures you expect to come out of a wedding given the circumstances. And if I would have known at the time that my husband would very shortly after fall in love with photography and go pro, I would never have even suggested a free photographer. My husband hates looking at the pictures. I think they actually disgust him. And it's not fun for me either because I just remember how nervous and stressed Uncle David was and how much Michael hates our wedding pictures. In short, if you do not have the skill set to do it yourself and you are not willing or don't have the capacity to learn, now you should always try first. But if it just really doesn't work out for you, don't go choose some option just because it's cheap or free. You might wind up with something taking way longer than it should have, and then you're paying the same as you would have anyway for a more expensive expert to do it within a better amount of time. You might possibly have some bruised relationships in the process, or like me, you might have a bad memory of my decision with the constant reminder that comes from the wedding pictures. I mean, it's not like you can just get rid of those or switch them out. So maybe one day when my dōTERRA business gets to presidential, we can recreate the day and get some better pictures. But for now, it is what it is. But off of my Uncle David and my wedding, most of you that came tonight probably came because you do feel like you have some ability to leverage technology for your business and just need some suggestions on how to make that happen. So I'll try to go as slowly as possible, but there is a lot to cover. And so if you need me to clarify something or you have questions, please feel free to ask. There may be something I have to decline to answer just for time's sake, but I'll try my best to get you the info that you need, even if it's at another time. So I would say that there are 4 main categories that just about everything we need to talk about fits into. They are online marketing and social media, graphics and audio-video presentations, organization and task management, and customer relationship management, or CRM. Now, just a note, technology is constantly changing, and the best thing is always on the horizon, threatening to uproot the last resource that filled the best thing since sliced bread slot for however long or short a time. You know, you have to pick what you are comfortable with doing, knowing that whatever is the best right at this moment will eventually change, but it doesn't mean that you have to change with it. You just have to be comfortable doing what you have chosen to do, no matter how the winds may change. Now, for each of these, I'll give you a couple different options to choose from. What is my personal tool of choice and why? What dōTERRA has to offer us, if anything, and what the pen and paper would be to accomplish the same goal, if there really is one. You know, I could spend days training on just each of these, so this is truly just going to scratch the surface and give you the basic idea behind each one. Now, first off, online marketing and social media. By its very name of online marketing and social media, there is not a pen and paper way to make this work. You would simply be choosing to go another route entirely, you know, in which your marketing is all face-to-face, word of mouth, hard copy invitations, mailers. You could even call in ads in the newspaper or local magazine, on the radio, etc. If online marketing is something that you don't wish to get involved in, I really don't blame you. It's a beast. There are basically 2 parts to this section, specifically marketing through websites and marketing through social media. Now, why do I need a website when dōTERRA gives me one? You technically don't, especially at the lower levels of dōTERRA, but at a certain point, I would say becoming more important around Diamond Plus, but can be implemented as soon as Silver Plus, you and your way of doing team becomes a brand that is worth promoting. You know, even though dōTERRA's newest version of the front retail website for WAs is pretty stunning, actually, you have absolutely no control over what you see other than your name, picture, and bio, and that can be changed in back office. And if you don't know where to do that, the final tab in back office is labeled My Website, and you can change the photo, the bio, and the actual URL to whatever you want. So when you sign up as a WA, your front site is mydōTERRA.com/your name, and also mydōTERRA.com/your WA number. They can actually find you 2 different ways, unless you check the box down there that says you don't want to be found by your ID. So however, if you have chosen a business name, you may want to change that to mydōTERRA.com/your business name to streamline things and make sure that people are not getting confused between what they're seeing you tell them over here and then what they have to go to on the website. Now, there are 4 steps to creating an online marketing presence through a website. It's branding, hosting, building, and then content creation and scheduling. You know, the main point of a website, other than what dōTERRA already offers, would be to market yourself and any trainings you offer, potentially have a blog for your thoughts if you like to write. This can also generate fresh leads as people hit your page through Google or other avenues, and they actually get to meet you and see and hear your story, which sometimes can draw people in much better than a generic website where everything is written and designed by dōTERRA corporate and not by individual wellness advocates. Now, first off, branding. This is basically coming up with the concept for your business, possibly hiring someone to do a logo, etc. My business is Living to Worship. Crystal's business is Clearly Essential. I'm sure most of you have come up with some sort of name for your business in general or your team specifically, and that's what I'm talking about. Make it something unique and that fits your personality and your mission in life and with dōTERRA. If possible, you want to make sure that it is something that strategically you will be able to capitalize on all the social media platforms and not be confused with someone else. Nothing is worse than branding your business with one name on your website, but then having to deviate from that for your usernames on social media, or having to have several different variations because your variation is not available. Example would be Living to Worship is my username pretty much everywhere, but Twitter, Living to Worship was already taken, and it's Living to Worship without the G. And so that can be very confusing to people. So it's best if you can pick something that you can get all the way across the board on all of the sites. Next, you'll want to go and buy your domain name. There are several companies that offer this service, and domain name is simply the URL like www.livingtoworship.com or mydoterra.com. You have to own that in order to be able to direct traffic to it. So I personally have always had success with GoDaddy, but there are several options. You will want to buy the .com of your domain if it is available. .com is the most widely recognized and respected as professional, and some of the others don't really hold as much weight. And in order to make sure that no one else can come near your brand or that you will be confused with anyone else, it can also be helpful to buy other GTLDs with it. GTLD stands for generic top-level domain, and the best ones to buy in addition to .com are .net, .us, .info, .org, and .biz. And you may even wish to buy variations of your domain if you think that people could easily misspell or manipulate the brand. I might choose to buy all the variations of Live to Worship in addition of Living to Worship, or even buy the Living to Worship with the numeral 2 and not the spelled out TO. So just in case people get it confused, it would still find me. So, yes, ma'am.
What is the cost involved with that?
It can be as cheap as $2.99 if your URL is not like a grab me URL like everybody wants it, and it can be $2,000. There's people that specifically all they do with their life is buy up domains that they feel like people are going to love and want, and then to sell them back out for thousands of dollars because those people absolutely need that domain to make their brand work. So sometimes you won't even be able to get the .com because the .com of that particular thing is thousands of dollars, and you have to go with .net or .biz or .org.
That's what I found.
Yeah. So, but you can wait until it expires and see if someone doesn't renew it, and at that point it would go back down to the lower price. But sometimes it's not worth waiting. It's just worth figuring out something different. Many people also suggest buying the domain for your real name, such as kellytuck.com, so that no one else can take over your entity in your business. So there are tons of other GTLDs that are now coming out, such as .me, .life, .eo, .beer. I'm totally being serious. So you could even come up with something memorable and cutesy, such as eo.life or ita.ly. Which, by the way, that first one is available because I checked. So if anybody wants eo.life, you better go buy it right now. So another legit form of branding that I believe that everyone should get if they can is to get the same brand name as a Gmail address. It is a highly regarded system of branding. And again, there's nothing worse than someone else having a Google profile with your brand and things not being able to be consistent across the platforms.
You mean your business name?
livingtoworship@gmail.com. Because you will use that in many of the things you set up for social media and all of that. So next you need to sign up for a hosting service so that your website can be stored on a server somewhere and be accessed. Most of the places that allow you to choose domain names also come with the option to host, and it just depends on pricing and options which one you would want to choose. Now, whatever you choose, just make sure that the hosting service can set up email for you, because you want people to be able to email you at your domain name. So example, you can email me at kelly@livingtoworship.com. You can also email me at livingtoworship@gmail.com, but I want people to see my domain name, not Gmail. Or instead of my personal mktuckfam@gmail.com. But again, even livingtoworship@gmail.com is better than a personal address, as it keeps things separate and makes it look more professional. So even just getting a Gmail address. So next you need to choose a website designer or builder. Again, many of these same hosting services also offer design and build services. There are literally hundreds of choices. Maybe if you know someone who already has a site and you like what you see, you can ask them who they use. I know there are even a couple of web designers on our team at large. And if you are even remotely savvy with the computer, you could probably Google and pick a free WordPress template and get your own site up and running if you don't have the funds or ability to hire out. So the first ones up there are the ones that also have the other services. The second set is some that just do website and building design, or are some that have been used by other people on our teams. And WordPress templates are also a great thing for people who need a free option. So where was I? Oh, one thing I do want to say is that make sure that whoever you choose has a good handle on graphics and design. Just because someone can code a website or work with the back-end code doesn't mean that they have an eye for what is visually appealing. So you can end up with a very easy-to-use site that no one ever visits, or at least does not stay engaged on long because it's an eyesore, and you wouldn't want to spend all the money for that. So next is content creation and scheduling. There are three main pieces to content: customer education, team training, marketing, and blogging efforts. Then you map out a plan. Many business owners have great intentions. They want to blog once a week or twice a week. They start out strong, then they slowly fade away. Or they start tons of content pre-scheduled, and when it runs out, they completely disappear. So a content creation plan is the key to ensuring your efforts are sustainable and not kind of a blitz and disappear act. Content marketing is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Success in content marketing requires focus, resources, and commitment for the long haul. And the idea is to base it on the core content that you need to improve your business, and then repurpose the content so you get the biggest returns on your efforts. So here's what you need to do. You need to identify what content is your top priority. Make it one that will help improve your business, like creating your education and enrollment process for people to see when they come to your website. You'll want to write down how much time you'll need to create, proof, and design each piece of content needed, and who you might need to get to help you to do that. Decide how you will repurpose the content you're creating, like turning the overview of your process into a special report, teaching people about the service you provide, how it works, and what they should expect. Write down how much time you'll need to create, proof, and design the new items. Write down any other ways you can repurpose the same content, like turning it into a blog post. So if you have a great video that you did, writing that out as a transcript and uploading it as a blog doesn't take a lot of time. Done. Something new, fresh, new eyes can see it, and might reach someone that doesn't really want to spend time watching a video, but they'll sit there and read a blog. There's just different minds. Some people don't read, some people don't watch, all of that. So get a blank month at a glance calendar and review all the content you want to create and how long each piece will take. And make sure to give yourself deadlines and write them in your calendar. Some tips to make this process easier: don't bite off more than you can chew. Be realistic with your deadlines and your timelines. Don't base your milestones on the requirement that you work nights and weekends to get it done, because chances are that you won't. So, or in those little pockets of time that you think that, oh, I have an extra hour here, hour there. Trying to do everything at once will cause stress, frustration, and burnout pretty quick. So make quality your priority, and it's better to produce content less frequently and ensure that it's awesome than publish mediocre content often. So just make sure that you keep that in mind. Now consider the order in which you create content. For example, instead of creating all the content for a new onboarding sequence first and then repurposing it, create one piece of the process, repurpose it into a list building offer, and then publish a portion of it as a blog post that promotes that list building offer. And what I mean by a list building offer is, like, if you go to a website and it pops up and says, hey, do you want my essential oils dilution guide? Sign up right here. That's a list building offer. It's building your list. It's building your leads. So that can be some great things to think about, is what resources do I have to offer to people for free when they come to my website that they'll give me their information and be a repeat customer. Consider tackling one chunk of content each month. So one piece of the education enrollment process, one do-it-yourself DIY recipe, and 1 blog post gets done each month. Over a course of time, that's going to be a lot of content that's on your website and rolling. Don't feel like you've got to get 40 things up and running right then so that people, you have a ton of stuff on there. And of course, there's a whole section I could get into here on analytics and tracking and driving people to your site, but I'm going to skip that and move on. So, excuse me. If you're not quite ready for all that we just talked about, don't worry. It may come, it may not. But for those of you who have already chosen your business brand, I encourage you not to wait to buy the domain until you think you're ready to build a website. Chances are great that your domain won't be available later, and even if you just purchase it and let it sit, at least you have acquired it. Domains can wind up becoming costly like we already talked about, especially if someone knows that it is a wanted name. So don't wait if you already know what it is until, oh, I'm ready to put up my website. Just go and buy your domain names and just let them sit. The chances are, they're going to cost maybe $20 a year at this point in time. But if someone gets a hold of this name as something really wants, it'll jack up the price real quick. So segueing into the social media side of this, let's talk about the different social media platforms and social media management. So 2 sides to this. So here's the platforms. This list is certainly not exhaustive, but is the main ones that people are using these days, especially in multi-level marketing. So we have Facebook, Google+, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube, Vimeo, Periscope. I could go on, but that's kind of the main ones that people are using. So does anyone have any questions specifically about what these are for or why they're all common platforms, or does everyone pretty much know what these are? No? Okay. Facebook, Google+, and LinkedIn are all profiles of, you have timelines, you want people to be your friends so that they can see what you're doing. You can post videos, you can post pictures, you can comment. They're really kind of the biggest social media platforms in terms of you can do almost everything on them. LinkedIn is more of a business network where you go in and you put your business profile, you put your education, and you kind of connect with people in the business world, from people in your past. But there's not necessarily a lot of commenting going on or posting of pictures and things like that. But it is a site that a lot of recruiters use to find people for jobs. It puts you out there amongst your friends as, I am the essential oils educator, come to me. So it is a nice business resource, but it's not 100% necessary. Instagram is the picture. It's an Insta, right then and there, gram picture that you put up and post. It started out with just pictures. You can now do video on Instagram as well. And it's not quite as interactive as Facebook and Google+, but a lot of people are moving to Instagram for marketing because sometimes all that people want to do is scroll and look at stuff. They don't really want to be interactive. And so a lot of people are turning to Instagram for their marketing. Twitter started out as hey, I just want to get a quick message out there. And it is still limited to 140 characters. So, hey, I'm having a class tonight, come join me. Or, hey, look at this picture. It was kind of the original look at my life, but it still is just the 140 characters, quick send out of a text. And it can be still a good way it's called tweeting. You might have heard it, if you tweet and you retweet. So it's still a pretty good form. I think it's died off a little bit, but it's still pretty heavy up there. Pinterest, everybody know what Pinterest is? Basically, it's a bunch of boards that you have. People upload ideas and pictures, and you pin them to your own boards for reference for later. So if you have a doTERRA recipe board, and you just keep putting pins on there, and people have followed you, and they keep seeing your recipe pins, and then they pin them to your own board, and within 2 minutes, your pin can be pinned 60 more times because people are it's just basically a crazy way of getting ideas and recipes and all of that, and it can be addicting. Any of these can be addicting. I don't do Pinterest. I can't. YouTube and Vimeo are both video platforms. And so is Periscope, but YouTube and video are long-term video platforms that you upload content or videos that you've created of classes or of DIYs or whatever. But Periscope was created to be a really quick, live, over in 24 hours video so that people could get their thoughts out, people could watch it, see it live, comment live, interact, and then it would be gone in 24 hours. So I bet you somebody was trying to keep secrets or something, which is why they wanted it gone in 24 hours. But that's the gist of Periscope. So basically the concept is the same for all of these, even though it is done differently per platform. You create an account on these programs so that you can share yourself, your life, your daily happenings, your business with those from around the world who you choose to allow to see it. Because any of this stuff can be private, public, somewhere in between. It's a point of connection with the world that we wouldn't have otherwise. We can know what Aunt Bertha is doing in Hawaii on her vacation right here from NC because of what she chooses to post on these social media sites. And it can be a great thing. But it can also be a terrible thing. Not only can it be a place for negativity and just downright raunchiness, but it can also be a complete waste of our precious time if we are not careful with the way we use these systems. I personally had to unfollow every single friend on Facebook. Nothing against you. It's just so that I could focus to only go in to work on my business and not get caught in the endless rabbit trails that take place when you click from picture to picture, profile to profile, video to video, and endless amounts of comments. The black hole. Before you know it, you wanted to go in and comment, and you've spent an hour just going from place to place. So you do have to be careful. Now, some of you are saying this is exactly where I get the willies. Too much going on right here. So how in the world am I ever supposed to keep up with all of that? Now, for you, we have social media managers. There are several. dōTERRA provides us with a company-specific version of Hootsuite Amplify. This is $16 a year. It's a fee in your back office. After the tax, it's $16 a year. And it's a super great way to keep it simple and not have to worry about actually creating the content, the graphics as well as the text all yourself. You can also schedule the posts out using Hootsuite. It's free for 3 social media accounts and $14.99 a month for Pro. So if you did it for Facebook, Instagram, and Google+, there's no need to pay for the Pro version unless you really have that many social media accounts where you have a following. Most people have several social media accounts, but most people don't have the same following on every single social media account, and therefore just start with the one that has your largest or the couple that has your largest following and build it from there. I use Hootsuite, so I don't really know anything about these other options, Postcron, Post My Party, SynthShare, but I do know they are ones that other members on our team have used and recommended. Hootsuite also now posts to groups and events on Facebook, which it didn't do before and a lot of people weren't happy with. So it works great for everything that I need it for, and there's no reason for me to switch. So basically the most effective way to use a system like this is to plan a day once a month or even every other month when you take about 2 to 3 hours to schedule all of your social media posts out for upcoming time. And then you just interact with people as they comment on them or ask questions, and you don't have to be concerned with even getting on the sites and thinking, what am I going to post today? You can also post across multiple platforms at once, so you don't have to jump from account to account copying and pasting the content. You know, before social media managers came out, that's what people did. Oh, this needs to be on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, so I need to go from account to account copying and pasting. Well, you don't have to do that. You do it once, it goes to all of those places, and you forget about it. You know, I do want to do a quick plug for spell check and proofreading here. You know, I know that sometimes mistakes can't be helped. I make plenty myself, but I can't tell you how many times I have seen a sale be lost or momentum literally be changed because someone got hung up on a typo. It could have been a funny one. It could have been like downright, wow, that's just raunchy, because, you know, sometimes things just happen and autocorrect and all of those things. So just be careful that you're trying to use spell check and proofread. The other thing you might want to consider is a URL shortener. A URL shortener is an...
Before, so.
Yeah, I'm getting to it.
Okay.
Yeah. A URL shortener is an online application that converts a regular URL, the web address that starts with www, so like www.mydoterra.com, and it condenses it down into, the user only has to copy the full URL of a website and paste it into a shortening tool, and those are all shortening tools, to come up with an abbreviated version that is around 10 to 20 characters long. Now, why is this useful? Well, instead of sending someone a long and messy website address, you guys have seen it where you've copied and pasted something and it's like literally 60 characters long. You could never remember it, or you have to copy and paste it. So you can enter that into a URL shortener, and it is much cleaner, more psychologically pleasing, and it fits better within all of those social media posts or texts you send. So like Twitter could never accept something that long. You have to somehow use the URL shortener, or you're not going to be sending them anywhere on the web. So there are tons out there. I use bit.ly. It comes with great tracking and analytics, and it's free. You can also create your own brand shortener. I'm sure you can guess there what pep.si and sbucks.co are. Whose companies are those? Pepsi and Starbucks. So this is a branded link. It's a shortened URL built around a brand name or a related term that helps to associate the company with the links, content, and information you share online. Branded links help you take over control of your own brand awareness and recognition rather than sending out a bit.ly link that could have come from anywhere, or a Google link that could have come from anywhere. And now this is especially true if you are marketing to a younger audience. People that are older and don't understand technology may not have caught that pep.c was Pepsi or sbox.co was Starbucks. So it really is kind of for the younger generation, and it's just brand recognition. It's another way for people to recognize who you are. So now we're going to segue into graphics and audio-video presentations, which is also very useful for use in social media. So there's 4 parts to this as well. Photos, videos for social media, apps for graphic creation, presentation software, and audio and video webinars. So photos, videos for social media. You may be thinking, all I really want to do is post a stinking photo on Facebook, and I can't even do that. Help. Most people these days just take photos right on their phone and post them to social media. The apps on smartphones makes that super simple. You snap a picture of you're going on a hike and putting TerraShield on before you do, and you've got a great marketing tool. Just make sure to add 11 hashtags to the end so it beats the Facebook algorithms and it gets seen by all your followers. I know some of you probably didn't understand what I just said, but hashtag is the pound symbol on a phone, hashtag Facebook, hashtag dōTERRA, hashtag I hate bugs, hashtag I love TerraShield. There's something called algorithms where right now the number of hashtags that gets kind of the perfect amount of views on Facebook is 11 hashtags in your post. And that can get pretty overwhelming to see 11 hashtags. So what I do is I write my post, I do some dots so that those 11 hashtags can be hidden, but it still tricks the computer into thinking, hey, there's 11 hashtags there, and it sends it out to people, but they don't have to see all those hashtags. Because sometimes hashtags can be funny. It's kind of like an AKA, like AKA that was dumb, or AKA that was easy. It's really pretty much like I meant to say this, but I'm just going to put it in an afterthought. So sometimes they're funny, but a lot of times if you're trying to market, 11 hashtags is not funny. No one wants to read 11 hashtags. So there are some great apps that can help you liven up your pictures if you'd like. Most of the social media apps actually have built-in filters and things, but these are some good external ones. And if all you're looking to do is simply overlay text on your picture, then there's a great app called Over that lets you do just that. If all you want to do is text and fonts on a picture that you've taken, don't worry about all these other things. This is all lighting and cropping and stuff. Just get Over and I'll let you add the text. You can also get tons of great images specifically for dōTERRA from the Amplify app. From dōTERRA.com, there's a whole section devoted to high quality graphics for our use. And there's also a place called PresentTerra, like present and then era. There's only one T, so it's present, era, or PresentTerra that has some great stuff. So technically, you can't just go to Google and type in whatever you want and find a photo and post it. Everybody does it, but that's against copyright laws. So do try to use these free and legal resources that have been given to us from dōTERRA. So for videos, you can pre-record the video whether on your computer or your phone, and you can upload it to your social media sites. If it's longer than a couple minutes, the best practice is to upload to your YouTube or Vimeo channel and share the link rather than uploading it straight to Facebook or Instagram, etc. There are some restrictions on videos and how long they can be, So the newest thing and the thing that is guaranteed to get better coverage is to do live videos rather than the pre-recorded ones. You can do that by using Periscope, Facebook Live, and now there's Instagram Live as well. Those are some of the bigger ones. Live videos can be great for a quick pep talk to your team as you get inspired with a great idea, or you can post a DIY in your oil usage group. There's all kinds of ways to use video, both pre-recorded and live, to build business. I personally think that Facebook Live has a lot more traction than some of these other ones, but the main thing is that you need to post it where you have followers. And if that's somewhere other than Facebook, by all means, then you need to post it there. This is getting really deep, but if you want to edit your movies, you can do it on a phone and you can do it on a computer, and there's some great free apps to do it. iMovie usually comes with a Mac. Windows Movie Maker usually comes with a PC. There's Funimate for both the iPhone and Android. iMovie has a free app on the iPhone. Adobe Premiere Clips is an app on both of those. Adobe Premiere is actually a very expensive editing software for the desktop, but there is a free version for the phone. So apps for graphic creation. For people who are wanting to actually create graphics to use as class invites or recipe memes, etc., you can check out these great programs, which are available both in web-based versions for computers and on mobile devices. I personally use Canva when I'm trying to do something quick, and it's got a lot of great easy design tools because I'm not necessarily a graphic designer. I do okay, but I also use Photoshop when I need to play with images. I love the team function in Canva and the fact that you can share and collaborate on designs. So say that you just simply put in the information of this is when the class is, and you ask someone on your team who's more savvy at that, can you go in and make this look pretty? So you can do that with Canva. You should definitely check that out. Also, if you just really feel like you don't have the chops to design anything, you can once again go to doTERRA.com or some of these other sites and find great recipe and DIY graphics that you can use in your business rather than creating your own. We have a whole portion of our site related to graphics that you can post and drum up social media interest. So presentation software. 3 very powerful software programs for creating presentations just like the one you've been looking at are PowerPoint, Keynote, and Google Slides. They all have great features. I use them interchangeably. Just depending on the situation. Though I grew up with PowerPoint, so I'm probably the most comfortable with it. It's the Microsoft Windows version. So a lot of people know PowerPoint over knowing Keynote or Google Slides. They all have templates that you can use so that you are just entering your information and you don't have to feel like you have to be a great designer to get a good presentation. But even if something like that is too much for you, once again, doTERRA has created some PowerPoint presentations for us, and they're constantly adding to them. Right now there's 4 up. There's one about basics, there's one about aroma touch, there's one about emotion, the emotional oils, and then I don't remember what the 4th one is. So you can also buy or find free ones online from other wellness advocates depending on the topic. There's a great one for oils of the Bible. There's a great one for doing to healthcare or to professionals, and you just Google these things and find them. I think that one's on Etsy. It's a shop. So presentations like this can be helpful depending on the topic, but they're not definitely always necessary, especially if you already have a handout to pass around. In a class like tonight, if I would have just talked at you with all of these words and information and you couldn't have also seen it and written it down, you'd have just been lost and frustrated. So it was necessary to have something that you could see and that I could reference and all that. But if you're just doing your normal class and intro class, you have a handout for that. They can look at that, you can look at that, and it works just fine. So there's no need to feel like you've got to do a presentation for everything that you do. Audio and video webinars. For anyone who's wanting to create webinars, whether recorded or live, for upload to your website or social media, or maybe you just have a long distance contact that you want to see face-to-face for a one-on-one, these are some of the most common platforms for that. I like Zoom the best. I think it works great across the board for recording webinars, for sharing one-on-one and face-to-face, for uploading later. But this doesn't always necessarily come down to my favorite choice of what I use. In order to facilitate live versions of webinars, the person or the people you'll be meeting with also have to have the software for whichever platform that you are using installed on their own machines. So you may find that you have to do a variety of different ones just based on the needs of your team member or current prospect. Now, if you're not needing to do one-on-one with people, a really great one to use is Facebook Live. And people can just comment and you can answer their questions, and everybody has Facebook these days. And then another great one is Google Hangout, because Google Hangout has a broadcast feature that goes directly to YouTube, and no one has to have any software of their own to get on a YouTube video. They click on a link and it goes to the YouTube website, and therefore they can watch it, but they're not going to be able to interact with you. That's the thing. Those two that I was just talking about is if you don't have to interact with people. If you have to interact with people, you're going to have to figure out between the two of you what platforms that you both have and what can be used best. For audio, free conference call, SoundCloud and iTunes are great if you're going to be creating podcasts and you want people just to hear your voice, because a lot of people just like to listen as they're going, to and from places, and they don't want to watch a video. So those can be great things. Most of these are free, or they at least have some type of free version with restrictions. An example is that if you don't have the paid version of Zoom, your meeting and recording will cut off after 45 minutes. And I've had that happen to me before, so it does happen. It's not just hey, we're going to tell you this. It does happen. So on to technology for organization and task management. In this section, there's really not necessarily as much to explain about what or why. It's kind of self-explanatory why you would want to use these types of programs. So these are some really quick recommendations. If you do have questions about them as we're going down through, you can feel free to stop me. But we're going to go over calendar, event registration, online credit card payments, organization and task sharing, financial tracking software, business resources, and note-taking programs. So there's several options for calendars. There's Google, One Calendar, which is the Microsoft version, iCal, which is the Apple version. There's a Facebook calendar, and hey, back to pen and paper, there's a hard copy day timer. Yay! So I like using my Google Calendar, which shows up across all my devices. It's connected to my Gmail. If my Gmail sees that a calendar appointment comes into my email, it's going to automatically add it. And so I can set up several calendars for both personal and business, and I can color code them. It sends me reminders and even helps me navigate different time zones, keeping everything all in one place. So you're also able to even integrate your Facebook event calendar. So there's no need to continually look in different places for where the events are scheduled. You don't have to go to Facebook and to Google and to your day timer. It's all just right there. So if you come across the need for event registration, some great programs are Eventbrite. I use this one most of the time, TicketLeap, and Eventzilla. If you have set up a Facebook event, you will get the RSVP notifications right in Facebook. You can go with the standard RSVP by word of mouth, and there's actually also a program called Synduit, which is a full event marketing program for WAs. So from their website, this is what their website says. Synduit is the first truly automated solution for your home-based business. No more messing with MadMimi, Hootsuite, Leadpages, Eventbrite, Infusionsoft, CintShare, and Constant Contact. With one click of a button, Synduit can launch compliant, fully written, and designed campaigns that consistently increase engagement and grow your essential oils business. So that sounds great, right? They have demos on their website. It is pretty cool. It is actually quite reasonable at $29.99 a month, and it does way more than just event registration, but it just seemed to fit in best right there. What it does is it markets your events from start to finish in pre-designed campaigns, including the inviting, the registration, RSVP, and event follow-up. So what you do is you go in, you choose a campaign that says Intro to Oil Basics. You put in your date, your time, and you say, I want it to send to this group of people. So it sends them the initial invite with a landing page where they can go and register. It tells you that they've RSVP'd. It sends them an email that says, hey, don't forget about our event in 2 days. And it sends them an email the day of as well. They're going to be adding text, so I'm sure that last thing will eventually turn into a text. But you just did all of your follow-up with one button click and reminded everybody about your class, and it's great. So that might be something that type of automation might be really great for you, as you don't have to come up with all of that on your own. It can also do social media campaigns and newsletters. And they're actually supposed to be becoming a full CRM, and we'll get to those in a minute. So sometime within the next year or two, they're going to do that. And I have not personally tried it, though I have watched several demos, just because I was not ready to implement one more thing right now, as I'm holding out for something else I'll get to in a minute. So some online and credit card payment systems. So it's pretty obvious why you may need to be able to take online or credit card payments. And if you haven't had to yet, I'm sure you will eventually need to pay an upline or downline something in the future for events or for group orders, etc. So the standard that is used amongst our dōTERRA team is PayPal. I'm sure you've heard about that. I like PayPal because not only does it have the friends family feature where there's no fees involved that we can do amongst our team member, but it also has PayPal here, which can take credit cards and keep track of inventory. It's just a tiny machine. It's free. You sign up for it at paypal.com/here, and it fits in the headphone slot on your phone, and then you download the app and you can swipe credit cards. So it also keeps track of inventory. So say you're at an event and you brought 7 family essential kits with you. You could have entered them into your inventory prior to that, along with all of the correct tax and shipping info. So all you have to do when that customer is ready to buy is go in, select it, swipe the card, not spend time figuring out how much does this person owe me for what they just bought. It does all of it for you. It's also very easy with PayPal to refund people money if something goes awry, where some of the other ones are not very refund friendly. Personally, I have never enjoyed their customer service, though. They're just not very helpful or responsive. And thankfully, I've only had to use it once or twice, but that would be my only complaint about PayPal, is they just don't respond very well. So organization and task file sharing. There are all kinds of great and modern ways to share tasks and files. Though I utilize many of the others, my cloud service of choice is Google Drive. I can upload regular documents from my computer, but I can also create Google documents and spreadsheets that I can collaborate with team members on, and we don't have to share them back and forth or wait until one or the other is done working on them. So we can actually be working on them at the exact same time in different locations and collaborating, and so providing your team with some of the most valuable resources all in one place, whether it's Facebook, there's file sections in Facebook, or a team website, or a Google Drive or Dropbox, so they are not scrambling around to find things like, where's this, I saw this. That's a great service to them if it can all be in one place. So, and once again, paper way, flash drive or CD, though that's just, no one likes to do that anymore. So financial tracking software. Full tracking programs are Quicken, QuickBooks, and Mint. Mint is a totally free version. Quicken and QuickBooks have both desktop and subscription-based services. QuickBooks also has an inventory program, which is convenient for taxes. At the end of the year, you've got to figure out how much you have in stock. And if you were keeping track of that the whole time, it's not as big of a deal. There are receipt apps such as IQboxy and Expensify. So you can really quickly just take a picture of your receipt. Don't worry about the shoebox. If it gets lost, it's not that big of a deal because you have it electronically. And MileIQ is a mileage tracking app you can have on your phone so that you won't forget to write down all that mileage that you're getting. You guys drove here tonight, you're going to drive back, that's mileage you need to write down so that you can write that off on your taxes. So, and then of course there's grandfather's ledger and shoebox. I wasn't trying to be degrading, but the ledger is a little bit older, so... Business resources. There are some great resources for classes that you can use. I love Sure Success personally, but so many good ones have come available. It's really just personal preference at this point. And of course, anything dōTERRA, dōTERRA has some great materials as well. The class in a box, the business literature that they have, the business literature that dōTERRA have, the living naturally, sharing naturally, and building naturally you can get in your back office used to be pretty, just not visually appealing. It just was not well done. But they've since updated it, and actually very well done, and probably some of the cheapest stuff that you can get, and it comes right in your back office. The Live Naturally tools is kind of one of the newer kids on the block. It's a whole system, just like Share Success and Edge Success, and some of our upline have been moving to that. And then EOS.life created a very awesome simplified handout. A lot of people are realizing how exhaustive our class handouts are and trying to move to more simplified versions. giving that exhaustive information and continuing education rather than right then and there at the first class. So EOS.life has a really well done simplified teaching handout with a script that you may want to check into. And then you can also get anything you want printed if you don't know about the Team Abundance Office Depot card. It's located in the Files of Business Builders group, and it slashes printing prices by 40%. It's a huge chunk of savings. I mean, you can literally have an over $200 order come down to, almost, I think I had a $200 order once that wound up being 90 something. So it's pretty crazy. And then, of course, you can get all kinds of oil accessories from aromatools.com, oillife.com, shareoils.com, Amazon, Spa Room, and New Green Air. The last two are diffuser places specifically. And there's even you can do wholesale accounts with these places, so you get the best deal on diffusers. You're giving them out as incentives. You just have to buy a case. That's the thing. But it discounts them by almost half. So it's a really good thing. So I personally love working with Share Oils and Spa Room. I have never had any huge issues, and their customer service is awesome and accommodating. They've gone above and beyond when I have had issues. So note-taking programs. You can maybe do some more research on your own to see what would suit you, but some of these are complete systems for organizing notes, pictures, and receipts, or any other files that go along with them. Gratitude is a great program for keeping a gratitude journal. It's so important to remember to be thankful to count our blessings on this journey, or else we give up pretty quick. It's also great to be able to look back at how far we've come. That's always a great thing, too. So Evernote, Google Keep, Microsoft OneNote, Mac Notes, and Stickies, and then, of course, your old-fashioned notebook and Post-its, if you'd rather not actually have a program for it. On to customer relationship management. Customer relationship management, or CRM, is a term that refers to practices, strategies, and technologies that companies use to manage and analyze customer interactions and data throughout the customer lifecycle. And the goal is to improve business relationship with customers, assist in customer retention, and drive sales growth. So CRM systems are designed to compile information on customers across different channels or points of contact between the customer and the company, which could include the company's website, telephone, live chat, direct mail, marketing materials, and even social media. So CRM systems can also give customer-facing staff detailed information on customers' personal information, purchase history, buying preferences, and concerns. So pretty much instead of remembering everything about your customer, it does it for you. And you just go in there and say, oh yeah, Sally bought X and she loved it. Maybe she needs more. Let's go ask her, if she needs more. So, but maybe you're not ready for a full CRM system or anything close. But what are the best ways of keeping track of your contacts? Google, or whatever your home email program is, your phone address book, your computer address book, there's paper address books, and of course there's the tickler file or the Future WA notebook with the prospect tracker. And if you don't know what I'm talking about there, Laura Garcia does an amazing webinar about follow-up and the whys and hows of it, and she talks about that for Future WA notebook and the prospect tracker within her webinar, which can be found both on the Facebook group and in the Clearly Essential YouTube page. So obviously back office also has some capability when it comes to customer info, so you may just be happy to use that if you'd like. There's the detailed genealogy section that you can go to and look at all the customer info, and you can just filter it by that. You can download that as a spreadsheet, and maybe you just want to look at it that way. So for those of you who are ready for something a bit more bulky, here are a few places that claim to be full CRM softwares. CRM software consolidates customer information and documents into a single CRM database so business users can more easily access and manage it. So the other main functions of this software include recording various customer interactions over the phone calls, social media, and automating various workflow processes such as tasks, calendars, and alerts. So basically, you give someone a sample, you tell the CRM you gave them a sample, it reminds you to follow up with them, it sends them a text about how to use the sample that you don't have to even be thinking of, and then reminds you, hey, we sent a text for you about this sample, maybe you should follow up with this person. So those can be some great things for follow-up that you're not actually thinking of, but you're following up with the person without even really following up with them. So I have tried Close, and I have friends who have used LeadTrain and FitFu. FitFu stands for Fortune is in the follow-up. I'm not going to get very deep into this. There's a training we did not too long ago on one of Crystal's Monday night calls that explained the pros and cons of some of these different CRMs, and there's actually a comparison sheet of them in the Business Builder files that you can download and look at for automation features and pros and cons of those. One thing I will say that has changed since that recording is that dōTERRA is going to be partnering with Salesforce to bring us a CRM of our own. So one of the reasons I haven't bit the bullet on Synduet or another CRM system just yet is because I'm waiting to see what dōTERRA will come up with first. You know, anything that could potentially automatically sync with back office would be amazing. But if it doesn't have some manual capabilities as well, it probably won't be something that I will go with as my main CRM system. One other thing I'll say is that you most likely are never going to find one system that does everything all in one program and does it the way you need it to be done. You most likely will find a mix of things that work. Once someone creates the perfect, user-friendly, dōTERRA-specific CRM that works like we need it to, I'll let you know. But Salesforce may be it, but I'm honestly not holding my breath for that to be the perfect all-in-one solution. CRM texting apps. These are sets of apps that are specifically for texting your customers and can be done in campaigns that you just add them to a campaign and it texts them automatically over a period of time, such as a launch campaign if you're trying to launch builders, or an educational campaign, or like an oil camp, or it can do individual texts. Scipio and Touchpoints has the ability to do mass texting, which comes in super handy when you are trying to do a text blitz or get the word out about classes, promotions, etc. How many of us have sat there for 3 hours copying and pasting texts to all of our friends because we don't have a way to do it all at once without making them feel like they were just texted in a group? There's nothing worse than being texted in a group of 20 other people and then continually getting the text back of all the other people's responses. Don't do that. So these programs, they are subscription-based, they are pricey, but they're worth it. They really are. So email and newsletter software. Some of those CRM systems have newsletter capabilities. I personally use MailChimp, which is a great program, but it does have an MLM clause. It actually says in that if you are an MLM, you're not allowed to use MailChimp. But I kind of I'm going by, I've read the rest of it, I'm going by the spirit of the law and not the letter of the law, that what they intended was you're not spamming people. Everybody on my newsletter list asked to be on my newsletter list. And therefore, so if you decide to go with a program like MailChimp, make sure that people have asked because they can shut you down. If they start getting a lot of complaints, they'll boot you off. And anyway, it's just not good practice to add people to your newsletters that haven't asked to be there, whether you're using MailChimp or not. So honestly, for beginners, Schmore is a great option. It is well-designed and user-friendly, and it helps even the newbies put together fresh and professional-looking newsletters. It's a free account for up to 250 contacts, which starting out, most people have that or less, so it's good. And you can create up to 5 flyers for free. So once you get to your 6th month, you just overwrite your first flyer. So if it's important to you to save the content from that first flyer, you either need to print it off, copy and paste it somewhere else, or buy the pro version, which is a $14.99 per month subscription, if it's really that important to you to just keep as is. So you could also, of course, use snail mail or phone calls to get the job done on getting the word out about monthly events and promotions if you'd rather not use some type of software. So usage apps. Last but certainly not least, having usage apps for ourselves and our customers is important for providing at our fingertips education and answers to question about usage. You know, there are plenty of apps out there. You go to your app software store and you put in essential oils, you are going to get so many things that pop up. But these are the most tested and trusted ones that we know of. They come from Share Success, from Aroma Tools, and so some are free, some cost. You know, a great way to provide education is also to just get people involved in a Facebook community, such as an oil camp or a usage group, where they can be building camaraderie and learning from and right alongside others. If you haven't heard of Droply, third one on the list, that's a testimonial and recipe app that users actually upload their testimonials and their recipes. Crystal Garvin, our Diamond upline, actually bought the version that allows us as a team to be able to give that app to anyone for free. It's usually $9.99, but we can give it out for free because Crystal pays the subscription for us to do that. Thank you, Crystal. And then there's the Daily Drop app, which is the free dōTERRA app, which it actually now is a great thing. At first, it was very buggy. It was something that I was not going to recommend to people, and then I just kind of left it alone. And now it's actually a great thing. A lot of people have moved on already, but for newbies who don't know the difference, Daily Drop straight from dōTERRA, a lot of people like to see, hey, this is coming straight from dōTERRA. dōTERRA is giving me this information, not some, Tom, Dick, or Harry over there that doesn't know what they're talking about. So, and then of course there's the desk copy or the travel size reference books if you'd rather not, have the electronic stuff. And so I know that was a lot. Doing a technology overview for a business is a tall order. I could have spent one whole class and more on each of the tiny bullet points from each category and all the right ways to do it and implement it and the how-tos of it. And it can certainly be overwhelming, and it would have been overwhelming if we would have gone any deeper on all of those tiny things. But I just want to remind you, don't feel like you have to do it all this yourself. If there are things you just aren't ready to tackle, continue to let your upline and team help you out. There's no reason to create another usage group just for your team if everyone is thriving and learning from the one that your upline is doing. And there's no reason to start making cute graphics for your classes if your sample and invite strategy is already effective without it. So in other words, just take one step at a time. That's really all you can do. So thanks for letting me be here. If you have questions or you need my help, I'm honestly happy to answer questions and help where I can, as long as it is something that can be done or answered relatively quickly. If you'd like some more training or even one-on-one help, I do give training out of my home or come to your home for a fee, and I'd be happy to talk you through exact how-tos and implementation for any of the things we've talked about. Or even if you wanted to set up a class for your team and really capitalize on a certain aspect of that training, because there was a lot of it. Lastly, if all of this really isn't for you and you just need to pay someone either to get things set up and rolling for you so you can take it from there, or to actually see some things from start to finish and then just give you the completed work, let's talk. And if I'm unavailable to help, I'm pretty sure I have several contacts who would be able to help you get you going with technology for your business. So thank you all so much.